Hi, Gil from Testing Gil here. Today, let's talk about risk-based testing. It's not something new, and we do it, but not as much as we need to. Let's start with the fact that we never have time. We never have time to develop everything, and we definitely don't have time to test everything. If you have enough time, good for you. But most of us don't have this luxury. Let's say you've built your feature perfectly. Did you test it thoroughly? Did you write automated unit test, component test? Did you check all the integrations? Did you do that for all the cases that you thought about? That takes a lot of time. Or, let's say you're a tester. You've created your exquisite test plan. And let's say you've estimated the time perfectly. Did you actually get the feature on time to test it? Did you cover everything? Did you automate all the tests you wanted to automate? Did you allow for all the back and forth of bugs? And how about exploratory testing? How much of that did you do? Okay, you get it. We never have time. Even as much as we plan and execute according to the plan, there's still not enough time. That's life, and we need to embrace it. But it also means we need to make some decisions. If we don't have all the time to test feature X, we need to decide what to test and how to test. When we prioritize test scenarios or exploration, what we're actually saying is that some testing will not be done. Now, how we choose to prioritize is up to us. Let's say we have 10 features we need to test, and we only have time for testing 7 of them. How do you choose this magnificent 7? Well, we can choose them by the order we thought about them. Or we can go through them alphabetically, or how they appear in the docs. Or we can do the smart thing, which is look at all the scenarios that we have and choose the most important of them to test. What makes some scenarios more important than others? Well, that's a feature-by-feature decision, and I can't really tell you because it's your features, but I can give you some hints. Is this a new feature? We'd probably like to know if it's working, so we'll test it on its happy path. For further explanations why I don't like the term happy path, check out this video with a lot more explanations. What if it's a new small enhancement on existing features? Well, we can check that, they work, but maybe it's more important to check that the existing functionality didn't break. Let's look at an example. In our Bigger Better Bookstore application, we have a new feature. Now you will be able to send a recommendation of a book to a friend. Now, this is pretty complex. There are many cases, whether you've read the book or not, whether you have friends or not. What happens if the book hasn't been published yet, but you still manage to get a copy? We can choose also to focus on the elements on the screen, or explore what happens if you decide to remove the recommendation. So many ideas and so little time. What do we do? Well, first we ask the product manager what she thinks is more important. Since it's a new feature, she says, we like to see how people react to it, so we need to let people use it. We don't care about the status of the book, if it's published or not. So, testing recommendations for non-published books gets a lower priority. Also, while you can call APIs instead of using the screen, the product manager says we need to focus on the user interface and how the screen works first. What also helps this decision is that we have a very large suite of API automated tests and less so on the screen side. This is risk-based testing. We didn't use the word risk, but we discussed which scenarios are more important than others and which ones should we prioritize. We thought about risks when we considered the status of our API automation suite. There's a risk with both suites, for the user interface and the APIs, but the risk is bigger for the user interface. So we should focus on that first. At least for the APIs, we have a bigger safety net. Let's look at another example. Back in our Bigger Better Bookstore, we now are adding 2 new features. The first one is to print the history of all the orders that you've made when you purchased books. The other one is setting the default payment method. Now, the Bigger Better Bookstore is up and running, and people are able to buy books and even pay for them. Shocking, I know. Both of these features fall into the bucket of improved quality of life. Both are not critical. Both are not complex to build. The importance of both features is basically the same. So, if we only have time to test one feature, which one will we choose? Like we said, both features are not really risky. But the second one, the one that sets the default payment method, may have some kind of risk attached to it. Let's say we don't test either of them. What can happen if there's a bug? Well, in the first feature, we may not be able to use the order history screen. In the second one, with setting the default payment method, we may charge with a different method, and that can be a lot more serious. We evaluate risks in different ways. We need to understand the context, what the users care about, what the law cares about, the complexity of the application, the knowledge in the team, the skills of the people in the team, the capabilities that we have. And we need to do this all the time, because risk-based testing is not a one-time thing. With new features and new customers, and ever-growing changes in the application and in the team, our risks and what we consider important changes all the time. So we need to evaluate the risks all the time. Now, I'm guessing you do make these kind of decisions all the time, and that's good. But what if you're working from a prescribed plan that you created like 6 months ago? What if you're not thinking about emerging risks? Now that's risky business. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, like, subscribe, and go watch other videos on this channel. And in the comments down below, tell me how you saved the world and your app by thinking about risky scenarios. Until next time, bye-bye.